Welcome everybody to the Depths of Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Danielle. In this episode, I sat down with two of my very, very dear friends, Katerina and Angelica. Katerina shares her two home birth stories. And this was my first in-person recording, and it was so special. And we're recording from a friend's workshop. And this space is so beautiful. We had our cacao, we lit our candle. We shared a moment of prayer before we started. And it was so beautiful to have us three together and to have Angelica back. If you haven't been following from the beginning, Angelica and I started the podcast together. And then a year on, I took it on solo. So Katerina is living in the Sacred Valley in Peru. And she's supporting mothers in the valley to reclaim birth and bring their soul home after the expansive birth experience. She has been supported and taught by a passionate and knowledgeable traditional Peruvian midwife. And she lives and holds these traditions very, very close to her heart. And I was even lucky enough to experience a Huatasca, which is an Andean practice for postpartum mothers, and I will be sharing all about this very, very soon. We're actually recording in 2 days the experience and sharing ways that you can include these practices in your own ceremony. So taking little bits from here and there, what women do around the world, and creating a ceremony that serves you or the mother that you're supporting. On the next season, there's a big project where we're creating a free resource for families, friends, and partners of mothers, so that they can show up and hold the mother through preconception, pregnancy, labor, and postpartum and beyond. So I'll give you more information about this as we go along, so stay tuned for that. I'm very excited. But we are looking for someone to share a birth story for a cesarean birth, home to hospital transfer, unexpected home birth, and twin birth. And a reminder that Women's Circle is running again. We will be doing 2 live gatherings every month. One will be a Women's Circle, one will be an embodiment practice and breathwork practice. And then as a member, you're going to get access to all the past workshops and courses. We have so much in there, including the pelvic mapping course. Also, we have the Reclaiming Circle, which will help and support you to creating your own women's circle, mother's circles in your community or online. So if you're not one for courses, the book for Reclaiming Circle will be out on the 27th of November, which I'm really excited about. And finally, I just want to remind you that as a member, you're going to be getting this monthly forecast, which is now going to be coming in the form of a magazine. I used to love magazines when I was a kid. I used to love creating them. So I've decided to do a monthly woman medicine magazine. In there will be all the rituals and practices that you need to move you through the month ahead. Thank you so much for being here. Let's go and sit and listen to Katerina's birth story. Thank you. We are in a little witch hut cottage that's been gifted to us for this time, and it's so beautiful and handmade, and it feels amazing to be here. And we're sat in circle with a microphone in the middle with our cacao, and yeah, let's just go through and introduce ourselves. So because everyone knows you, Angelica, from the beginning if they've been following you, but just do a little check-in, like what's been happening.
Well, yeah, I'm Angelica, as you said, and I was at the beginning with creating the Depths of Motherhood together with Danielle, and it was, as you said before, it was our way to connect with the distances, supporting each other and learning, and just connecting with the bigger tribe and the other parts of the world. And so I've been really delving into motherhood. I have been devoting myself to my daughter, really. And it's been, I've lost myself in it. I went into a deep depression for some time. I just recently came out of that, and and now I'm pregnant again. So I'm sitting here with tears in my eyes. Super, yeah, I'm just going towards Ukupacha right now. And so, yeah, I'm probably gonna hear a lot of, tears from me. But yeah, we're recording from the Sacred Valley, Pisac, and it's just like this vortex of expansion and love and community. And even though I felt like I was missing that in the beginning of my how do you say, in my journey as a mother, because we moved here when my daughter was 2 months, and then so I didn't know anyone, but now she's 3 and we are, it's just the whole family's expanding, and I'm so happy that you, Danielle, finally, it was like a dream coming true. We've been talking so much about like reuniting and having our families together, and I'm just so grateful that you took the step coming here, and it has been absolutely magical since that moment. So thank you.
Isn't it crazy? Like, sat here, oh my gosh. If you would have took us 2 years ago when the podcast started, we were like, it's such a dream, and then now we're here. Wow. Your turn. Yes.
Okay, so my name is Katerina, or Kacho, and I moved to the valley almost 5 years ago, and I also gave 2 births here, beautiful home birth that I'm gonna talk about today, and I feel like recently very much grounded here because I got connected to these beautiful women and their families, and that is something I was really missing here. And I have a beautiful husband and 2 beautiful kids, but I really need my sisters, and now it's so obvious, and I'm really happy that I found out this fact, and I'm gonna work on it for the rest of my life to have my tribe around me. There are many beautiful families in the valley. So
we've got you here because you're amazing and we love you, and we want to sit and hear your birth story, wherever that begins, whichever one you want to start with, however it flows, just let it come through.
Okay, so
and let me just put this a bit closer to you. So
yeah, okay, I was born in Czech Republic, and one of our 4 weddings was also there, and I became pregnant on our wedding night. This wedding that was in the Czech Republic. Then when we were in Turkey, where my husband is from, I found out that I'm pregnant, and we went back to Peru. So my whole pregnancy I was here, and I was sure from the beginning that I want to give a home birth, but I didn't know with whom I wanted to find a midwife. And one day this friend came with a mother who just gave birth, and she was like, yeah, I gave birth with Ruro, and she was supporting me so much emotionally, and she talked about her, and I was like, okay, this is her. So we met with Ruro, and this like very wild journey started. Like for me it was the biggest journey, the biggest learning. Like she became my biggest teacher, my master in so many ways. And my pregnancy was so much about about having trust and changing this. Like I was believing before in like Western medicine, and it was this whole change happened in my pregnancy, that I moved to the valley, I moved to the other side of the world. I was pregnant, and I was having this like huge transformation in my life. spiritual awakening. And yeah, so she really emphasizes the preparation for the birth. So I felt like really supported during the birth, and I was also with other mothers, so that was very beautiful that we had these circles together. And my husband was also super supportive. So when the day came, like I thought it was gonna be a little bit later. So when I woke up at 2 in the morning at night and suddenly water was coming like through my legs, I was telling Arda, my husband, like, I'm peeing myself, like I pee every hour and I'm again peeing myself, like when I'm sleeping even. And then I was like, oh my god, but it is pinkish, like I think I broke the water. And I started to shake. I was like, but we are not ready, like we just put the mattresses, because we were cleaning the whole house. We were living in a community house, and it was always full of people, so we wanted to clean it like crazily, energetically, but also like physically. So Arda was with a toothbrush cleaning the floor. Literally, he painted the walls.
Wow.
He painted the walls 5 times, and I was like begging him, like, please, I really want to make my altar here. I want to put my birthing flowers and everything, and I just want to pray for the last week. But for him, it was very important to prepare the cleaning. Also in Turkey, people are very clean.
Yeah.
So when it started, I was like, we are not ready. We don't have our like nothing. It was just, we just put the mattress that night to the room, and it was still like you could still smell the paint on the walls. And I didn't prepare like the herbs that Ruro needed from the list. Like I felt, and it was the pandemic, so everything was closed, and it was Sunday, so it was nowhere we could like get even like vitamin C or anything, fruits, nothing. So we went to our neighbor, like, okay, no, I'm skipping.
Go back.
So it was 2 in the
No
morning,
skipping.
and we called Ruro, and she was like, wow, great, your son is coming, and just go to sleep. This is what she always says, just sleep, 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 like it's a normal day and you are sleeping. So so I was I had a shower, and then I went back to bed, and after 2 hours I was like, Arda, he's moving there so much. What is this? Like, he's changing position. Why is he doing that? And then I was like, oh my god, that's a contraction. That's a wave. Like, incredible. It was so actually soft and beautiful, like compared to what was gonna come. So, and then I was like, okay, let's sleep. And it was 10 in the morning that we got out of bed, and we started to, like, I was on the ball with every contraction. Arda was supporting me from the back, and the contractions were like every half an hour, and it was easy. Like, I was really using all this preparation I had. I was using my voice, accompanying every wave, and Arda from the back with his like really deep voice grounding me, and we really did like so much preparation that I felt like we are there, like we are so present, and it was amazing. And suddenly he was like, but you know, I need to cut wood because we have really big pieces of wood, and for our wood stove I have to cut it in the middle. I was like, okay, go. And we put curtains to all the windows, so it was super dark. It was like a cave inside, and we just had candles. So I was listening him cutting the wood outside, and singing. I was singing, and it was really beautiful. Like, I felt suddenly so much peace and so much trust. Like, when it started, I was a little bit afraid, and then with like all this singing, and I was dancing, and I really felt like I'm so ready, you know. I am so much enjoying it, actually. It is so exciting.
Yeah.
It's an adventure, the adventure of my life. And then we called our doula, and she came, I think, around like 4 p.m. And there I was a bit like thinking that I will already be giving birth, and still I wasn't. And around 6, I think Arda called Ruro, and then she came, and later I learned that she was coming. And yeah, Arda said there were like no cars, so when I heard the car, I was sure it's Ruro. And then she was coming like just like that without anything, and I was like, Ruro, you want me to take your things? She was like, no, leave them in the car. And then he was like, but why? And she was like, yeah, I have to run to another birth. And this was my like biggest fear throughout the whole pregnancy. I was like, I think, like, I feel she will have more birth. And she had 3 at the same day. So so Arda was like, we cannot tell this to her. So they didn't tell me. I didn't know about this. And she entered the room. It was already dark outside, and I remember this so well. How we hugged each other, and I just felt even more trust, even more. I felt strong. I felt so strong, and I was already in my own world, in my own ukupacha, so I wasn't paying much attention what was going on. I was just with like supporting every contraction, and then we had a fireplace, like open fireplace, and a stove, and I was walking in between these 2 hot places, and jumping a bit so all the water comes out. And then I was all the time thinking like, I want to get in a bath, I want to get in a bath. And I always wanted to have like I imagined always a pool in front of the stove, but in the end we like Arda and the doula, they filled a bath, and I was trying to, like, Ruru was trying to make me sleep, but it was really impossible. And then, like, she instructed them, I didn't know this, to make it super hot, the water and the room. There was like electric stove in the room and in the bathroom, and also like super warm water. So when I got there, I was like, I cannot enter, I'm gonna like burn myself, this is too much. Like, and right now, like, after years, I think she did it so she could run to the other birth to like really push me, because I felt really uncomfortable at that moment. I was like, this is too much. And I entered, and first I put my toe, and I was like, wow, it's so hot, I cannot make it. She was like, you can make it, you can make it. So I slowly entered. My whole body was like red. She put a hot towel on my breast, like on my lungs, because that was the only part that was out of the water. So, and then she put hot towel on my head, and I was like, this is the craziest sauna. Like, I was sure it had like 90 degrees inside. And suddenly the contractions came like, wow, so strong. And I wasn't aware, because I was really like in my own reality. And then they were so strong. Like, I just remember I was opening my mouth, because at that moment, like, I don't know if it was unconscious or that I knew that I need to do that, but I was opening my mouth so much that I thought I was gonna break my jaw. And at the same time, I could feel how my birth canal was opening. It was incredible. Like, really, I was like this, like a lion screaming, and I felt like I'm like my vagina and vulva is screaming as well. And then she measured me, and I don't know why I wanted to know, but she said, yeah, it's 6 centimeters. And I was like, oh my god, so I need hours and hours more. Like, no, like, I'm gonna put all my concentration into this, and I'm just gonna give birth, because this is so intense. I don't know if I can have strength for more and more hours, you know. So I just, like, with every contraction, I was just like releasing my hands. I remember, like, just be soft, be soft, be soft, but put like all the waves, like take all this like intensity through your voice. And then we were also singing with Ruro. And this song, como no voy a parir, si tengo todo para parir, si tengo luna, tengo sol. And then Arda, I think he was taking shower downstairs and making rape, and they were on the floor. Like Ruro is always saying that she needs to be below the goddess who is giving birth, so she was like below the bath there, holding my hand, and I was. She was asking me, so how are you? And I was like, I think if you can call this pain, it's like super painful. And then Arda came and I remember suddenly my body, like something happened. It stopped for a moment. Everything stopped, and I felt like I need to immediately change a position and get ready because Batu is coming. Well, he didn't have his name at that time, but we knew it was gonna be a boy. And I just touched between my legs, and I could feel his head, and my body jumped up and Arda. I just took Arda like so fast to put him behind me, so he was supporting my arms, and I remember. I felt like, okay, this is the moment, and I'm so ready, and I done this millions of times, and I felt like the ring of fire, and I was like, wow, I am giving birth. And it was, and I just took one breath, and he came out like, it is super my style. I do everything like so fast. And it was like so much like energy that I was even afraid that like if something didn't happen to him, because we just did it so fast, and then this huge wave of happiness came. I was screaming. I remember, estoy tan feliz, I'm so happy. and yeah, and there he was, and he just made like he just woke up from a dream. And then I just had him in my arms, and it was incredible. It was incredible. Like, I just looked down, and the bath was like completely red, full of blood, and we were there, like the three of us, Arda holding me, and I am holding the baby, and yeah, we went on the stairs. We walked down to the bed that we prepared there, and that was it. Yeah, I was a mother.
Wow. Thank you for sharing all that. So how long was the birth? Like
it was he was born 20 minutes after midnight, so it was 22 hours. Yeah.
Wow.
But the active part
well
was
done, Mama.
the active part was like 1 hour. It was so hour and a half. It was so fast.
I'm gonna give you a hug. Thank you for sharing. Like, wow, I felt like I was with you the way that you described that.
So beautiful. I was like staring at you the whole time. I was like, she's in it.
Yeah,
She's
you
in
were
it.
there again.
Yeah, because I listened to my audio message this morning or last night, and I was there. Yeah, I could hear my voice, and I was like, it was a different person actually.
Oh, wow. And that was 5 days after.
Yeah. I'm gonna record. I mean, I didn't record, so
And
it's like, wow. So
We
thank
did
you
it
for the
together with
inspiration.
Arda, so it was beautiful. Like we were
Both
puzzling
stories.
the story
Yeah.
together, and it was really beautiful to hear his part.
Yes, it's so
Oh, it's
different,
so
right?
different.
Yeah, what the two are experiencing.
And the men, they have to do so much actually. They are running. They are
They're
basically
running.
running.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
I'm also thinking about like, so Roro is, I just wanted to explain, like Roro is like an Andean traditional midwife, and who has been helping a lot of people here around in the valley, and I guess Cusco, around. And yeah, I mean, what an incredible like story. And I'm also curious, I would love to know, how was it to be pregnant in Peru? Like, you don't have anything else to be, to compare to, but then it's so, my question there is because it's very normalized that at least the foreigners that live here give birth at home. it is changing, like with the like the actual Peruvians here are not allowed to anymore, but all the like most of the expats give birth at home. So how was it like being around such a like big community that's just like, oh, I'm gonna birth at home, you know, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, beautiful question. Thank you. So I felt extremely blessed during my pregnancy. Like when I was telling my friends who were pregnant or who were gonna get pregnant or who didn't want to get pregnant, they were all amazed how different my pregnancy was, and my experience also with Cynthia, with the same doula we had together, like how she was preparing me. And it is now Ruro, when I met Ruro 2 days ago, I asked her, because she went on 1 month's trip to Europe, and I asked her, so how are the mothers different in Europe than in here? And she said it's the same, because we work with the spirit, we work with the alma and the trauma. We don't work with the mind. So the mind is different, the rational is different, but the body, the pregnant body, and the traumas and the spirit is the same.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, that here, as you said, like I was surrounded by stories like, yeah, so Ruro came late and we gave birth by ourselves, and it was so normal to hear this. I was like, oh my God, you know, like everybody is talking about birth, like, okay, I find the best hospital, and there is never support, like you go to your gynecologist few times during your pregnancy, and that's the only information and support. Like there are some circles, but it's quite rare, or it's just the beginning. But here it's very rooted and very beautiful, the tribe of the mothers here. Like we have a WhatsApp group as well, where we are sharing now about the health of the kids. And yeah, these witches, they know everything.
It's incredible. It's incredible.
Go on. you, this is why we want mic. We're spinning the microphone around. Oh my gosh. So I'm curious as well, because then you had another one. So could you just share a little bit about like the time distance between when you became pregnant again, and if there was any differences, how you felt in that pregnancy and going into the birth as well?
Annabelle. Mother of two.
Annabelle, we want to hear about your story.
Yeah. So I became pregnant quite early. Batu was a year and a half when I became pregnant again. And I always wanted, like, actually 1 week after Batu was born, we were asking Roro, so when can we get pregnant again? And she was looking at us like, we are crazy. And we really wanted fast to have another one. And then she really emphasized my health. Like she was like on the diet, she was super strict. She's always very, very strict with the diet of the pregnant women. But this time she was like, okay, you don't drink water, you will just drink broth all the time, you know. Like you need to get as much nutrition as possible, because you are gonna give birth like twice in 2 years, you know. It's very like 2.5. So I felt like my second pregnancy, I was just all the time like making something nice to eat or to drink, to make a tea and to collect this herb. And we were also building our house at that time, so that was actually very stressful. And I like, we couldn't finish the house. We were rushing to finish it to be able to give birth there, but then we realized it's impossible. And we decided to give birth at Ruro's house. Like Ruro opened a birth house, but like birth house, okay, it's like 3 little cottages from mud. And this is where we went like 2 weeks before the birth, we went there. and that was very important for the whole family dynamic. So we calmed down and we came back to ourselves. Arda was so stressed at the construction, so there we made a huge healing before the birth, and I think Annabelle was waiting for it, and I was apologizing to her a lot, like we made a big cleaning to her with an egg, and explained why it was hard, why it was stressful, and why we also argued with Arda a lot, and we had this beautiful altar, and we were just like enjoying, really, just as a family. We just didn't do nothing the whole day. We were in a bed reading books to Batu and playing and just waiting, and it was really the best time of the pregnancy. It was these 2 weeks when we were close to Ruro, and she was giving us these really deep therapies with Arda. Like, it was going really deep, and we were both crying and healing things from our childhood. Like, I was working with this big anger I have from my mom to my dad, and I felt that really Annabelle was giving us this time, because I thought that I was gonna give birth like 2 days after we arrived there, but then it took longer, and it was amazing. We did lots of preparation, and I was surprised that, like, I thought that you need to work the whole pregnancy, but actually no, like, if you are really there, even this short time can make a huge difference. And yeah, one day we were napping with Batu in the afternoon, like as every day, but normally it was hard for me to fall asleep, like my belly was so big, and that day I slept so good in the afternoon, and woke me up a sound of a wind that came through a window that was really well closed. Like, I don't know how the wind opened it, and there it like blew off the candle on the altar we had there, and I woke up, and I was like, this is the spirit of the birth that just came to this house, and it's gonna come, and I was so sure about it. And I woke up, and we were cuddling with Batu, and then I was like, oh, I need to go to toilet, and we went to the toilet, and he was holding my hands. And then he went to the toilet, I was holding his hands, and then I was like, okay, but I need to go again to the toilet, and again. And then I realized, okay, like, these are like quite regular contractions. And I went to tell Ruro, and it was beautiful that she was there, because most of the time, these 2 weeks, she was not there. She had so many births. Like, she had 5 births in 1 week, the week before I gave birth, and like also hard ones. She had to go to the hospital in the end for a C-section with one mother, and I went to her room, and she's like, how are you? And I was like, yeah, I think I'm giving birth tonight. And she was like, yeah, let's see. And I went still to collect some herbs again, like we didn't have them ready, and I was just collecting them in the garden. It was dark, it was very windy, and I came home, and I was like, okay, Arda, I think start like filling the pool, because he was just filling it with air, and then it was for 1 hour that I was listening to this machine. And I was like, I cannot concentrate on my process, really. And then when it was finished, Ruro came, and she was like, this is the wrong pool.
Oh,
So Arda had to deflate it and inflate another one, and then we realized there is no water. And I couldn't even like flush the toilet or have a shower.
Oh, yeah.
And so
like, it's so Peru. Like, the one, no water.
And that was my biggest fear, that I will have no water.
Yeah.
In my second pregnancy, I was always thinking about this. And then I remember Batu like Arda was running with Batu so much. He needed to eat and then make also make caca. And then there was one moment where I was at the toilet, Batu was at his little toilet, and Arda was there with the soup that he was feeding Batu, and then he stepped in the soup, and the soup like splashed all over the bathroom, and then there was like this smell, and we couldn't clean, there was no water, and I was like, this is total chaos. And in that moment I remembered, like Roro said, yeah, the birth is the way the family is, like I was like, okay, this is us. And but we were really like good, even in this like crazy conditions. This is what I feel, that our family is always like, we have sometimes really hard conditions. We have these like 4 languages in our family, and everything is like always complicated, but we are really doing good, under these conditions. So it was like that. And then I felt like they are so strong and so sequent and very long. So and Arda was measuring, I think, on the application, and I was already in my Aunukupacha again, and Ruro came. So the first contractions, they started like 6:30 p.m. and then she came at 10 p.m. so like 3 hours later, and I was on my 4th. I was like, okay, I don't want to give birth in these clothes I have, so I just took it off, and I was on my 4, like on the floor, looking for a place where I'm gonna give birth, and I saw this little birth chair that Ruro designed, and I was like, okay, this is it. And like with my like really last strength, I just got on the chair, and there was one candle, and I with every contraction, like after it ended, Batu was like, Mama. This little sweet like angel voice, Mama. And he was there with his book, like so calm and just asking if I'm okay. And Ruro measured, and she was like, yeah, you are 8.5 centimeter. So I was like, okay, like we are close. And suddenly I was just like, okay, I need to push. I want to push so much. I just want to push, like my body is going to explode. And Ruro was like, no, but you need to wait, like you are gonna rip yourself. You need to just breathe and don't push. And Arda was like supporting me again from the back, and I thought like I'm going to explode if I don't push. So this was a really hard moment when I just completely like had to like change everything. I was so ready, everything in me was ready to just push. So I was just like taking the deepest breath of my life and just relaxed my whole body. And at that second the water broke, and Annabelle was born like without me pushing. She jumped out of me like a little tiger. And I was like, is she okay? Is she okay? And yeah, she was okay. And then
so who caught her? Like who was there to?
Yeah, it was Ruro.
It was Ruro.
Yeah, because my hands were like this. I was like, I need to relax. I don't know how I'm going to. And Batu was preparing pillows on the bed. And then
he's the sweetest kid, and like he's such an angel.
So we lay down, and I was like, oh my God, we are 4. That was. And I felt like so complete and so beautiful. And actually, I just remember that me and Arda, we were talking, and Ruro told us like, you need to be quiet because the placenta wasn't born yet. And we got a bit angry to her, like, because we felt like we need to finally, because we had like this 4 hours of craziness, like we were doing so many things, and we were not so much together as in the first birth, so we wanted to share like what happened. It was like after a big party, like so Annabelle was born. And Batu cut her cord after like 36 hours, and then we buried the placenta like with him. So
wow!
Yes.
Wow! How magical!